my neighbor. I distinctly remember hoping he'd notice me in my bathing suit. He was 17. I was 7. Edit, to add, he didn't notice me. Thank God. My first crush was the groom from a wedding I was a flower girl in, like 5 to 6. I was so pissed at the bride for marrying him instead of me. Ha ha ha. I've seen many a flower girl think that they are the most important person at a wedding. It's amazing how a dress, a basket of flowers and the requirement to walk in front of everybody can turn the most adorable child into Attila the Hun. And the ring bearer thinking they have authority just because they get to touch the bride and groom. Boy in my class. Lasted way too long. Fancied him from the ages of 8 to 13. I annoyed the ever-loving shit out of that poor kid. Joe, if you can see this, I'm so fucking sorry. If he sees your username, he's gonna have some regrets. Metal does have a distinct taste though. Try another word that begins with M. Magnesium. Doofenshmirt's Too bad Ferb got there first. I always thought it was funny how the voice actors for Ferb and Vanessa also played love interests in the film Love Actually. Martin Freeman and Joanna Page voiced them. They were the two kids in Love Actually, Olivia Olson, and Thomas Sangster. This kid named Ben in first grade. I remember chasing hottie boys being like, haha, if you don't run I'll kiss you. Then he was like, okay, and I was like, oh sick, that's nasty, ooh. Smooth moves on my part. 10-10. At that age, it's considered gross by your peers to kiss and you will be shunned for it. I remember in first grade on the bus a girl was trying to kiss me and I really wanted to. But I had to resist so that the guys thought I didn't want it, but not resist enough so that she could kiss me. Orlando Bloom. The Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean movies were my obsessions for several years, for more reasons than one. I always had a thing for Keira Knightley, especially this look she gives Barbossa during this scene. Oh yeah, I remember when a lot of people had a thing for her. There were some great moments in the first few movies. I've always had a thing for Keira Knightley and I'm a straight female. It's crazy to think she was 17 in the first Pirates movie. See, I was always more into Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. Even as a kid, so what that says about me, I don't want to know. That was always my mom's favorite, so watching these movies together with her was interesting. Lol. To 10-year-old me, Orlando Bloom as Legolas was the epitome of my preteen boyfriend fantasies. Discovering he did not in fact have long platinum blonde elf hair Earl was basically like discovering Santa Claus wasn't real. Ty Lee. If I was a little younger, I would have gone with someone from the same show. Uncle Iroh, life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. Uncle. How could you say that? Zuko from Avatar, The Last Airbender. Which haircut? Liked all of them, but the grown-out bangs are my fav, especially during the later season 3 episodes. Smile. Gotta be this or this. Why would you do this? For honor. Emma Watson. When I was a kid, I thought I would grow older and I could date her. I figured out later that if I grow older, so does she. I thought she was my age when I watched the first HP movie. Man, when I found out she was like 18, that's painful for a 9-year-old. Just imagine being, roughly, the same age and knowing you still have no chance. Especially in the Harry Potter movies, when I was growing up she had my whole heart. 3 years later, after I thought she was interested, I asked her to prom only to find she had a boyfriend. Some Bulgarian athlete. Victoria. I told this story recently about when I expressed my feelings to her. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, we took a field trip to the Field Museum here in Chicago. During our lunch break, and I wandered off to the gift shop to see what they had. I had a huge crush on this girl named Victoria in my class, and I saw this lady buggering for a couple of dollars. I knew she liked ladybugs and I had money my parents gave me to buy something at the shop, so I decided to buy the ring and give it to her. I was really nervous and kept waiting for the right time to do it. I eventually decided to just go for it and walked up to her near the end of the trip. She was with some of her friends, which made me more nervous, but I found the courage to do it. She looked at the ring and laughed. Her friends joined her and she then tossed the ring in the trash. I was completely devastated and tried hard to hold back my tears. Even though I'm over it now, that completely fucked my confidence with girls for a long time. Looking back, I may have embarrassed her to giving it to her in front of her friends, which is why she reacted that way. But even still, it was pretty bullshit for her to just toss it in the trash in front of me like that. Hurt. At least you were brave enough to give it to her. For years, every time we had a field trip, I'd get up early and buy a rose for Jennifer. Sometimes I'd even reach my hand into my backpack and grasp it as she passed me by on the bus. I was never brave enough to give it to her. A girl named Christy I met while camping with my family. We went to the county fair together and hung out the whole week we were camping. We actually kept in touch for a long time, but she lived like 2 hours from me and I was like 12 at the time, so it's not like I could just go meet her. I went to see her once. It was awkward. She had a daughter and I was a 20-something dumbass in the Air Force. I had one of those pen pal type friends growing up. Same story, met while camping at Darien Lake, New York. Kept talking on AIM all the time and finally met up years later. Awkward as fuck. We had been talking so long that we already knew everything about each other, so there was nothing left to make a connection with. Contact faded soon after that. Disney's Robin Hood, the Fox. Yeah, I def had a little thing for Maid Marian. This is my wife's first crush. Like big time. I cannot believe there are more of you. Oodaloli. Lol. In our defense, Disney drew him more handsome than any animated fox had the right to be, and then went and gave him Brian Bedford's super sexy voice. I can't wait to tell her you exist. I've seen a lot of people say Marion too. I'm sure Little John was someone's type too. That cartoon was basically family-friendly Game of Thrones. The King of Queens was my favorite show due to my massive crush on Leah Remini. She was delicioso. Just started watching this again and she still has a place in my heart.